All right, so this is our stock till you drop grocery restocking process presentation. I'm Marina Poggioli,
I'm Austin Rowe. And I'm Gabriel Ortiz.
and so today we are presenting to our local coffee shop. And we know that right now you might be wondering why we're here. Well, basically, the gist of it is that the restocking process is taking way too long in your company and is way too tedious. We know right now, according to our data, which we will explain a little more later, it's taking about 20 minutes to just restock it. And that happens about twice per week in a standard restaurant. So we know that this is taking too much time, and this is a problem because this is being handled during shifts where our employees should be really dealing with the customers at that point, or it's happening on your off time. And we know that you all want to get off and not have to deal with work after times. So we're here to do what it's called a continuous improvement process, which, if you don't know, pretty much our whole goal is to identify a problem and come up to really figure out what's wrong, come up with a solution, and then really implement the problem. And pretty much it's just an endless cycle of continuous improvement to constantly be reducing time and increasing our productivity. So currently, right now, our productivity rate is only at 298 items per hour that we can stock. And by the end of this presentation, we're going to show you how to improve your productivity rate to about 413 items per hour. So initially, the whole basic restocking process for groceries is really you unload it at first, and then you grab the groceries, you transport them to the right areas, and then you put them away. Right now in unloading, we know that different restaurants and facilities have different types of layouts. So we didn't really consider all this time, and we more focused on the grabbing, transportation, and putting away the items. And specifically, we were assuming all these restaurants are putting away items in the refrigerator, freezer, on a countertop, or in a pantry. And so pretty much we had to, since we're in a global pandemic right now, we had to conduct a study where our home groceries are very similar to our restaurants because we all have a very similar kitchen layout. And we were able to upscale that from 10 items at home that you may have versus a restaurant that may have 100 items. So you'll see a lot of our data that we did was with our own little study in our houses, but we are now applying it to a higher up restaurant. So pretty much from our main study, just preliminary data, we saw that we're traveling way too much. Where about in our homes, so it all depends on your layout, it's about 200 feet traveled in transportation and probably much more in a restaurant, assuming that your layout is much larger. And then we saw that it takes about 20 minutes for the process of putting it away. That includes anything from reorganizing your storage areas because it's not super accessible right away, and then also unloading each item from different areas into the correct locations. And so really we can see in this visual down here in our three main areas, we could see our grabbing didn't take much time. However, our transporting took about 45 seconds and the putting away the groceries took 50 seconds. So really in the study, we were focusing on how do we reduce the transportation and the putting away times for our groceries.
So to go ahead and really properly conduct any study, we went ahead and examined the process, the original process, putting away our groceries. And to go ahead and do this, we properly analyzed this. We conducted various direct time studies, and we created a few Pareto charts. As you can go ahead and see on the bottom right, our average time spent was mostly on the refrigerator area of our kitchens. And so our main focus was to go ahead and reduce time spent there primarily. But also, like Irina said before, you want to go ahead and reduce the time spent on the transport. On other Pareto charts that we had made on the side, we saw that was really where most of the time was spent. Like Irina said, we spent about 45 seconds on average on transport, which could very much so easily be reduced, since a lot of it was going from the bag of groceries back to the fridge, back to the groceries, back to the pantry, etc. And so the MUDA that really are important right here are motion, correction, inventory. Correction and inventory really go hand in hand with this, because they're both going to go ahead and do with the organizational layout of your fridge. So that means that if you go ahead and try to go and put away your groceries and the fridge is all unorganized, well, you got to go ahead and spend time organizing the fridge a little bit and then being able to go and fit your groceries, which is more time wasted in putting that away. Then, of course, the simple act of like reducing the motions of going to and from the fridge and the bag groceries you might have like in the center. We're trying to also eliminate that. Now I'm going to go ahead and take it to Austin.
Okay, so Gabe mentioned eliminating some of the MUDA. What is MUDA? Well, MUDA is just waste. It can come in many forms: time, space, energy, work movements, etc. Lean solutions and lean methods, lean practices, etc., is the term used by systems engineers and project engineers to refer to just a system of trying to eliminate waste in all its forms, optimizing efficiency. So using the MUDA that Gabe mentioned, we developed 3 different solutions to try to eliminate this waste. First of all, we had separate bags. This is to limit over-processing. So when you're doing groceries in the home, obviously, you're bringing things into separate bags and putting them into their respective locations. Well, if you have a bag full of fridge, pantry, and other items, you're resorting through those before you put them away. So this is an extra step. When it comes to store inventory, this involves simply just bringing everything in from the truck and keeping it in one separate locations in a common pile, so that you know that things are going to separate areas. The other 2 solutions, both the fridge hooks and the cart, seek to eliminate motion waste. So this is eliminating extra transport. As Gabe mentioned, when we did our Pareto charts and direct time studies, we found that a lot of effort was spent on the areas of the fridge, and specifically with putting things away and also walking back and forth. As you can see up here in the top right, I have both the initial and the improved time studies with this data. So you can see in our initial study, transport and putting away of items took over 80% of the total time for the entire process. In our improved process, we brought that down to under 65%. Additionally, we saved 40% time. We had 40% time savings in the transport and putting away activity sections combined. This corresponds to a 40% increase in productivity in items stocked per hour. So we can see a correlation in eliminating this particular MUDA and in improving productivity. In addition to our lean solutions, part of the lean methods is also 5S. 5S is a method of getting the most efficiency and eliminating the most waste in a workspace, so allowing for safety and the most optimal work to be done. So what's changing? So for sort, we're incorporating an and-on system that will track and sort inventory. An and-on system will simply give the status of certain things. So managers will go in and fill out data with weekly inventory data for when things will run out, when they'll spoil, etc. This is also part of Standardize, is creating this system. Setting an order. So fridge items, although they're arranged, in their walk-in in a specific area, they're also being arranged within that area further. So things that are spoiling sooner or have a shorter shelf life will go around the chest area for easier grabbing. Longer term items to the top or bottom of the shelf. Shine, we also need to wash and disinfect the freezer and other shelving units multiple times a month. This prevents, obviously injury to workers and customers, and is a much just better workplace to work in. I already mentioned Standardize, of course, with the and-on system and some of these other ones. It's just implementing this. You have obviously been trained and will be further trained with this stuff. Sustain is the most important part. It's how we maintain these first 4 S's. And so each worker, in addition to their normal delivery shifts, if they work any, will have to cover at least one stocking and unloading shift, just to kind of familiarize themselves more with the process and teach them the importance of 5S even further. So now I'm going to kick it back to Gabe for more about that documentation process. Damn, that was like 440.
As Austin said before, our 2 new process implementations would be the usage of a hook system, which would primarily be used for a refrigerator, and a cart system would be mostly used for a walk-in or a large storage area usage. And it's really important to go ahead and document these 2 new processes so you actually are able to go ahead and compare your old system to this new one, which across the board, as you can see on the bottom right Pareto chart, was much better. I mean, we did see a little bit of increase in time we used up for grabbing the groceries, but overall it just went much lower with like transportation, put it away, and etc. And to go ahead and like properly go ahead and compare the processes, you're going to want to go ahead and likely do some more direct time studies and just have some more Pareto charts. So you're going to see where there might be some extra wastage in time depending on how you guys are able to handle this. The key performance indicators for this are just going to be simply the time comparisons of how long you take to go ahead and put away groceries in seconds or in minutes, depending on how long it takes your business. And to go ahead and have a good sense of quality control, it's good to go ahead and regularly, about maybe once a month, go ahead and do a direct time study just to go ahead and make sure you're on task and just having pretty good performance overall. And a good hit target goal to go ahead and have is about 206 items per 30 minutes, because we saw that 30 minutes is about the average time that a business will take to go ahead and put away and sort groceries. And that's about it for us. If you have any questions, please let us know.